My daughter Kayla recently came back from the library, as she tends to do, with a lovely little children's book called Ava and the Rainbow Who Stayed. Anyone know this book? It's a good book. You should look for it in the library. Yes, you know this book? Oh, good. It begins with little Ava discovering a beautiful rainbow that appears after a rainstorm passes. Ava thinks that it's the most beautiful rainbow she's ever seen. She makes a wish that it could stay up in the bright sky forever. And then the next day, the rainbow is still there. And it's still there the next day and the next day after that. Soon, word of the rainbow who stayed starts to spread through the town. And everyone comes to visit from far and wide to see this rainbow who stayed. The rainbow becomes a point of pride for the whole town. It even becomes the town's new mascot, which the town's old mascot is not very happy about. And Ava, of course, loves the rainbow and loves to visit it every day. But eventually, after some time passes and the rainbow is still there, people start to lose interest in it. It starts to become part of the backdrop of their lives. Eventually, people start to mistreat it, paste signs and advertisements over it, like they would a fence or a blank wall. Eventually, the townspeople just forget about it. Ava is really the only one who notices when the rainbow vanishes one day. She hopes that the rainbow won't be gone forever. Rainstorm after rainstorm, Ava keeps the lookout for the rainbow's return, but to no avail. Until finally, after many dark months, the rainbow appears in the sky again. Ava knows that this time, the rainbow won't stay forever, but she knows the rainbow would always come back. A rare and precious sight indeed, is how the story ends. Sometimes we lose sight of the incredible, miraculous things in our lives. They fade into the backdrop of our busy lives. It's human nature, really. Think about it. When was the last time you really gave much thought to your ability to flip a switch and instantly have light, or open up your fridge to find food to eat, or to zip across town in a matter of minutes, assuming no traffic, of course? You might not think of any of these rather mundane, everyday things as miraculous, or worthy of even a second thought. But consider the experience of someone living in a place that is simply dark at night because they don't have electricity, or the incredible amount of labor, time, and resources that goes into growing and producing the food in your fridge, or the incredible combination of technology, infrastructure, and human power that allows us to get into our cars and drive. It might not surprise you to hear your rabbi tell you that Jewish tradition understands the danger of taking these things for granted, especially the Friday night before Thanksgiving. Throughout our liturgy, we find over and over again reminders and warnings to not lose sight of the amazing gifts we have. The Talmud offers at least one daily routine, which is also part of our daily liturgy. The rabbis teach that every morning, at the moment when we wake up, we should thank God with the words, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. God, the soul you have placed in me is pure. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, she'echazarta bi nishmati, b'chemla rabba emunatecha. I give thanks to you, ever-living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust in me. Each day we ground ourselves in a sense of awe and gratitude. Awe in the fact that we are alive, and gratitude that we have the good fortune to start another day. It's a powerful notion, too, this idea that God has abundant trust and faith in us. It's a prayer not only of gratitude, but also a charge. You're alive today, so go out and live. Make the most of the gift of a day. The discussion in this section of Talmud goes on to explain that there is actually a blessing that corresponds to every action of awakening. for feeling the warmth of the sun on your face, for hearing the sounds around you, for opening your eyes, for putting on clothes, for tying your shoes, for the ability to stand firmly on the ground. Most Reformed prayer books call this collection of blessings Nisim B'chol Yom, literally, everyday miracles. And there are miracles around us every day, not just in our prayer books or in the places we pray. The fact that we woke up, got out of bed, and drove here in our cars is a tremendous thing, a tremendous blessing. It is miraculous. Our tradition recognizes the importance of finding opportunities to bring holiness into our lives, to elevate our most basic, simple, most mundane activities to a level of kedusha, holiness. But gratitude is just the beginning. The blessing over vision is tied to an image of God opening the eyes of the blind. The blessing for the ability to stretch and move is tied to a prayer that God free the captive. These blessings are not just about giving thanks for our own abilities, but they are reminders that there are those in our world who may not have the same abilities or privileges as us, and that part of our task as Jews, from the very beginning of each day, is to remain attentive to the challenges facing our world, and to do something about them with whatever gifts and tools we have at our disposal. Our task is to repair the world from a place of deep gratitude for the days we have. An ability to remain attuned to these smallest moments of gratitude may also help us find something to hold on to, something to lift us up when we find ourselves in the midst of tumult or difficulty. In this week's Torah portion called Chaye Sarah, literally the life of Sarah, or Sarah's life, we read that Sarah dies when she was 127 years old. The text actually says that she was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. These were the years of Sarah's life. One 18th century Moroccan commentator, known as the Or HaChaim, the light of our lives, explains, or the light of life, explains a somewhat unique accounting. Says the Torah alludes to the almost 100 years that Sarah suffered, the anguish of childlessness, or the animosity which developed between Ishmael and the son she bore at age 90. The years in which Sarah really lived, therefore, were only the last 27 years of her life, which she was able to enjoy, in which she was able to enjoy Isaac's development in undisturbed tranquility. There is a tradition that develops around this commentary and other midrashim that Sarah not only enjoyed a long life, but that in her righteousness, and in fact because of her righteousness, she really made the most out of each day of her life. When we recognize the good fortune in our lives, when we are happy with what we have, rather than always wanting more, we may just find a sense of tranquility and recognize opportunities to make the most of our lives. As we prepare to gather with family or friends for Thanksgiving next week, how might we also think of extending our sense of gratitude beyond our meal and caring people with whom to share it? In my family, some of my fondest memories are of my Aunt Carol, who passed away just about 7 years ago, and they're really centered around the Thanksgiving table at her house. Anyone was always welcome around her table. Over the years, my friends and the occasional girlfriend were welcomed with open arms, a delicious meal, and were immediately made to feel like part of the family, which usually meant hearing all of my uncle's material for the first time and laughing politely. Without fail, at some point in the meal, my Aunt Carol would steer the conversation to the question that I'm sure many of you ask around your Thanksgiving table: what are you thankful for this year? It would start off silly, a few jokes, usually from my uncle. And then as we settled into the question, everyone would eventually go around and share in a truly genuine way. With her quiet grace, without saying a word, although sometimes giving my uncle a seriously scary glare, Carol always got us to a place of sharing our genuine selves, of thinking about the wonderful gifts we had in our lives, our health, our family, our friends, and really just the opportunity to gather together each year. She had the faith in us that we could get to this serious place on our own. She knew it wouldn't happen immediately, but that we'd get there when we were ready, because we all felt that sense of gratitude to her and to each other. And now, when we gather together each year, we continue this tradition, which really has become a tribute to her as well. I also want to suggest this ritual that was developed by the American Jewish World Service. It's called a reading for the Thanksgiving table for you to use at your Thanksgiving table. Begins, today is a day of gratitude for the blessings of health, safety, friends, and family, and for the abundance before us. In many American homes, it is customary to say words of blessing and thanks before eating the Thanksgiving meal. As Jews, gratitude is embedded in our tradition. In Birkat HaMazon, the blessing after the meals, we acknowledge that God sustains the entire world with goodness and gives food to all creatures. We express our appreciation for the food we have eaten today that nourishes and sustains us, and for the land on which it is grown. Ve'achalta v'savata uverachta et Adonai Elohecha al haaretz hatova asher natan lach. When you have eaten and are satisfied, you shall praise Adonai your God for the good land God has given you. But even as our gratitude overflows, our hearts are heavy with the knowledge that more than 1 billion people today cannot access these blessings. We live in a world in which more than 1 in 7 people are severely undernourished, a world in which hunger claims 25,000 lives daily. Let us hasten a day without hunger by remembering at this Thanksgiving meal and every time we sit down to eat that gratitude should always be a motivational emotion, driving us to pursue a better world for others. May we add our own prayer that we will do our part to build a world without hunger, ensuring that all people have the gifts that we celebrate today, fullness and gratitude for our many blessings. As Joni Mitchell sang, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? This Thanksgiving and every day, be sure to give thanks for those people and things that you value in your life. Don't wait. Wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving, full of warmth, joy, and a sense of awe and wonder at the many gifts we can find in our lives if we just take the time to look carefully. Shabbat Shalom.